was on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when y'all are getting back here, is on 8.7 girls, which is about vectors. 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, and 9.6. If you get back in here tomorrow, yes. Okay, so what I've decided that I was going to do, and you need to do the homework exercises tonight, is I will probably put the information on here or on the board, and I'll explain what information I mean by that in a minute. Alright, so when we talk about rotation, rotation is when a figure is turned around a fixed point called the center of rotation. If the point is the center of rotation, the image and the pre-image are the same point. Okay? That didn't make a lot of sense. But if the point is not the center of rotation, then the image and the pre-image are the same distance from the center of the rotation and the same measure of the angle of the rotation formed by the pre-image, center of the rotation and the image point. Okay, well, let's don't worry too much about that. Let's talk about the difference between clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay? If something rotates clockwise, it goes this way. Okay, so it goes that way. If something rotates counterclockwise, it goes this way. Okay? So everything that we do, if it doesn't state it otherwise, is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. Okay? So, unless it's stated otherwise, it is counterclockwise in the direction you're going. Okay? Alright. Okay, so, on your notes, I've written down a bad version of a chart that looks like this. If you walk all the way around, you start here and you walk all the way around, you've gone 360 degrees. We've talked about this before. If you walk half of the circle, you've gone 180 degrees. If you walk a fourth of the circle, you go 90 degrees. And if you go 3/4 of a circle, you're going 270 degrees. So if you start here and go in this direction, this is 90 degrees, this is 180, this is 270, and this is 360. So you're walking in that direction, which is counterclockwise. Now, if you go clockwise, this is 90 degrees, this is still 180 degrees, and this is 270 degrees. So if you're going clockwise, alright, that's what you would have. Alright. So, yesterday I gave you a list of things that if you were reflected over the x-axis or the y-axis or the identity, what you would do. If you go counterclockwise 90 degrees, okay, X and Y trade places and Y gets the opposite sign. Go 180 degrees, X and Y get the opposite sign. If you go 270 degrees, X and Y trade places and X gets the opposite sign. That information, I don't have any more drops, sorry. That information I will give you tomorrow, so you don't have to remember it. On the test on this, you will have to remember it. Is that clear? Alright. So if we start with our first example, you're given triangle PQR, and you're asked to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So if I plot the original points, we're at 1, 1 for P, we're at 4 and 5 for Q, and we're at 5 and 1 for R. We got a triangle that looks like that. So you're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so let's go back to my stick figure we had the other day. All right, so if he gets rotated, if he gets rotated 90 degrees, he's laying on his side right here. Okay. If he gets rotated 180 degrees, he's standing on his head and he's here. If he gets rotated 270 degrees, he's laying on this side and he's in this quadrant. Okay. Now obviously if you started in quadrant 2 and went 90 degrees, you'd be here. Okay. All right. So if we have our new points, P prime would be equal to -1, 1. All right. Q prime would be -5 and 4, and R prime would be -1 and 5. So X and Y trade places, and Y gives the opposite sign. So our new location is at -1 and 1 for P prime. Q prime would be -5 and 4. And R prime would be -1 and 5. So does everybody see where Q kind of got laid on its side? Okay, everybody understand that now? Okay. All right. So,
Listen,
yes?
I don't know how you know where you're supposed to put it.
Well, okay, I took the originals and I used what I told you a few minutes ago. So, X and Y trade places, Y gets the opposite sign, so -1, 1. So I plotted that, -1, 1. Then X and Y trade places and Y gets the opposite sign, so -5 and 4. So I went to -5 and 4.
When you use that formula, because you like 90 degrees.
Yep, this is the formula for 90 degrees. Okay. So now, you understand? Alright, everybody good with that one? Alright, so let's look at one that goes 180 degrees. Okay, so for 180 degrees, they get the opposite signs. Okay? So -X, -Y. Okay? So, I don't know what this is here. Alright, so P prime would get -2, +3. Q prime would get -3, -4. And R prime would get 5 and 1. So we'll graph our original in red at 2 and -3, which is P, and then 3 and 4, which is Q, and -5 and -1, which is R. probably should use a ruler for this, y'all. Alright, so P prime is at -2 and 3. Q prime is at -3 and -4. And R prime is at 5 and 1. Okay. So see how Q was in quadrant 1 and now it's in quadrant 3? Okay, because it went 180 degrees. Okay.
Are we gonna have to know all these formulas, please?
I'm going to give them to you. You will have to know them for the test. Okay. All right. Everybody understand this question? All right. So see if y'all can do this one. Y'all got some blank papers, don't you? When you start with A, 0 is neither positive nor negative, so that's really not going to change. Okay. B, X and Y trade places, and X gets the opposite sign. So that would be 4 and -2. C, we get 4 and -6. And D, we get 0 and -4. So A prime is in the same location that A is. Then we have 4 and -2 for B prime. C prime's at 4 and -6. And D prime is at 0 and -4. Is everybody putting their little prime symbol on there? Okay, everybody good? Yeah. All right. So, on your notes, and I don't know that we have to do this one, I wrote that 90 degrees clockwise was the same as 270 degrees counterclockwise. Everybody understand that? Okay. All right. So going back to the originals up here, if you went 90 degrees clockwise, you would use your 270 information. 180 degrees is going to be the same. If you went 270 degrees clockwise, you'd use your 90 degree information. So everybody's good on that? Okay. All right. So
What if it doesn't specify which direction to turn it?
if it doesn't tell you which direction, it's always counterclockwise. It would tell you if it was clockwise. Okay, that's a good question. Everybody understand our question? If it's not stated, it's understood to be counterclockwise. Serena?
So if it's 90 then it's 270.
You're gonna use the 270 information. So you would use that information.
It's 90 degrees counterclockwise?
Clockwise. Her question was if it were 90 degrees clockwise. So if it's 90 degrees clockwise, you were here. Well, you're using the 270 information. It's not, it's on this axis.
So when you're going clockwise, it's the opposite. So how do you know that it goes from? if it's 90
Hold on, let's do this again. Just 1 second. It's my fault. Okay. So if you walked all the way around the circle, and we're going to start talking about circles, you go 360 degrees. Okay, if you go half a circle, you're going 180 degrees. All right. If you went a fourth of a circle, well, 1/4 of 360 is 90 degrees. So you're here. Go 3/4, you're at 270. So if you're going in this direction, all right, that's counterclockwise. Right? All right. If you're going clockwise, that's 90 degrees. This is 180 degrees. And that is 270 degrees. So if you're going clockwise for 90 degrees, you're going to use your 270 information. 180 is not going to matter. If you go 270 degrees clockwise, you're going to use your 90 degree information.
Okay.
Okay? Jordan?
On the formula for 90 degrees counterclockwise, would it be negative y or negative x?
Now let's go back to,
Because it flips over the y-axis, so should it be negative x?
all right. You're not talking about an x-axis or y-axis, you're talking about rotations. Okay? So, if it's 90 degrees clockwise, x and y trade places and y gets the opposite sign.
Okay.
Okay? If it's 180 degrees, x and y get the opposite sign. Okay? If it's 270 degrees, x and y trade places and x gets the opposite sign. Okay? Is that better? All right. So next I wanted to talk about dilations. Just give me a minute.